Hello and welcome back to Crochet and Copy for part 2 of Teddy the Fox. My name is Judy. Today we're going to complete making all our parts for Teddy the Fox. Let's get started. So now we're going to start with the legs, and with the legs we're going to make 2 of them. But I'm only going to show you how to make 1. We're going to start with the black yarn first, and we're going to do an adjustable ring. Remember, pick it up and you make your little adjustable ring, and you're going to chain 1 to hold it in place, and we're going to put 6 single crochet into our adjustable ring. Remember, you could adjust the tail a little bit to work with it, but don't pull it all the way through. So 6 single crochet into our adjustable ring. That's our first one. Remember, put your stitch marker in. So we have our 6. So now we're going to tighten it up. And for round 2, we're just going to put 1 single crochet into each stitch that we did from round 1. That's 6, so we're going to have 12. Take out our stitch marker. We're going to put 1 single crochet into that first stitch. Put your stitch marker back in. And then back down into that same stitch, we're going to put another single crochet. So remember, the pattern for round 2 is just 2 single crochet into each stitch around. So when you finish round 2, you're going to have 12 stitches. So I'll meet you there. Keep on working. So for the completion of round 2, you have your 12 stitches. Now round 3, take out our stitch marker. We're going to put 1 single crochet into that stitch. Put our stitch marker back in. And now we're going to do for the next stitch, we're going to put 2 single crochet. So that's the pattern for round 3. Is the first stitch. We're going to do 1 single crochet, and then we're going to go back down into that same stitch, and we're going to put 2 single crochet. So remember, the pattern is 1 single crochet, and the next stitch will be 2 single crochet. So the completion of round 3, you have your 18 stitches. So keep on working with that pattern, and I'll meet you there. For the completion of round 3, we have our 18 stitches. So now round 4, take out your stitch marker. We're going to put 1 single crochet right into that first stitch. Put your stitch marker back in. So remember, the pattern now for round 4 is the first 2 stitches. We're going to put 1 single crochet. So that's 2. And the next one, we're going to put 2 single crochet. So that's 1, back down into that same stitch, and 2. So the pattern is 1, 2 stitches will have 1 single crochet, and the following will have 2 single crochet. So keep on working with that pattern for round 4, and at the completion of round 4, you're going to have your 24 stitches. I'll meet you there. So in the completion of round 4, we have our 24 stitches. So round 5, take out our stitch marker. Now we're going to put 1 single crochet into that stitch. Put your stitch marker back in. And for round 5, the pattern is we're just going to put 1 single crochet into each stitch around. So on the completion of round 5, you're going to have your 24 stitches. So keep on working with that pattern, and I'll meet you there. For the completion of round 5, we have our 24 stitches. So now round 6, take out your stitch marker, and for that first stitch, we're going to put 1 single crochet. Put your stitch marker back in. And the pattern for round 6 that we're going to do is 1 single crochet into the first 4 stitches. So that's 1, 2, 3, and 4. And the next stitch, what we're going to do is do the tug together 2. So that's 1, go into the next stitch, 2, you have 3, and then pull across all 3 at the same time. And that's the pattern for round 6. You're going to do 4 with 1 single crochet, and then the next stitch you will tug together the single crochet. So at the end of round 6 you have 20 stitches. So keep on working with that pattern and I'll meet you there. So we completed round 6. We have our 20 stitches, so now take our stitch marker for round 7. For that first stitch we're going to put 1 single crochet, put your stitch marker back in. So the pattern now for round 7 is we're going to do 1 single crochet into the first 3 stitches. So that was 1, 2, and 3. And then for the following 2 we're going to tug together. Yarn over, pull up, yarn over, pull through. So that's the pattern for round 7. Round 7 you're going to do 1, 2, 3 stitches with a regular single crochet, and the following 2 you're going to tug them together. So at the completion of round 7 you're going to have 16 stitches. So I'll meet you there. Keep on working till you get back to the stitch marker. Completion of round 7 you have your 16 stitches. So now round 8 and 9 we're going to do 1 single crochet into each stitch around. So put your stitch marker back in. So remember now for round 8 and 9 is just 1 single crochet into each stitch around. So at the completion of round 9 you're going to have your 16 stitches. So keep on working till you get back to round 9 and I'll meet you there. For the completion of round 9 we have our 16 stitches. So round 10 take out your stitch marker, and for that first stitch we're going to put 1 single crochet and put your stitch marker back in so we don't lose our spot. In the next stitch we're going to do 1 single crochet, and then the next 2 stitches we're going to put the tug 2. So we're going to tug the single crochet together. So that's 1, and then go back and we'll go into the next stitch and then yarn over and pull through all 3 of them. So the pattern for round 10 is you're going to do the following 2 stitches you're going to put 1 single crochet, and the next 2 you will tug together. But the thing is, at the end of the last stitch that you're going to work at the round 10 we're going to change your color, because for round 11 we're going to use a different color yarn. It's the orange yarn. So when you get to that last stitch around to round 10 I'll show you what to do next. So meet me there. Keep on working. So now we're basically at the end of round 10. We do our tug together stitch. So you got pick up a loop, and now this is what I mean when we're on the last stitch of our work for round 10. We're going to change the color of our yarn to orange. So what you're going to do is you're going to take a hook and take the new yarn and put it over your hook so you could pull it through. I'll leave a longer tail so that we can tie it to the other one so we don't lose our spot. So basically I dropped the yarn that I was working with, the black one, let it just drape to the back, and then I make sure I hold the orange inside, and then hold it also with my fingers so I could have a grip on it. And then I'm going to pull it through all the 3 loops, because that was our completion of our tug together 2 single crochet in round 10, because we didn't complete round 10 yet. So that's what helps us to make our change color. So for round 10, the completion of it, you're going to have your 12 stitches. So now for round 11, take out your stitch marker, and we're going to do, usually do it before I tie it and cut off the yarn. 1 single crochet right into that first stitch that we took out our stitch marker from. And that's it. That's how you change your color in your work. Put your stitch marker back in. What I like to do, because see, you have 2 now yarn, the one that I previously was working with and a new one, I like to complete the row first before I cut it off, so I make sure that I have all my right stitches, because when you cut off, then it gives you a little trouble trying to get it back to make sure you did your 12. So let's complete that row together, round 11, and that would be 1 single crochet in each stitch around. And remember, you get your 12 stitch, and then I'll show you what to do next into cutting off and how I do it. So keep on working. So we're back around, and we finish our round 11 with our 12 stitches. So this is what I do. I pull it so I don't lose my spot with my hook. And now, like I said, we're going to cut it off, because what you do is you double check by counting the stitches of how many you have around to match up with the 12. Then, because the black yarn is what we finish with, so we're just going to cut it off. And the black yarn, we join it with the orange, so I give it a little knot. Well, I do it 2 times to make sure it just holds inside. It's 1 and 2. Then I just poke it in, and for here we're also going to stuff it. So we're going to stuff our little leg now. Completed stuffing our little paw for our leg, if you will, his little paw. So now for round 12 all the way up to round 18, what we're going to do is just do 1 single crochet into each stitch around. So we put that 1 single crochet into our first stitch, put your stitch marker back in. Remember, now for round 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18, you're going to do 1 single crochet around in each stitch, and you will have your 12 stitches. So I'll meet you there and show you what to do next. Keep on working till you get up to your 18th row. So now we completed round 18, and this is how it looks so far. So we're going to take out our stitch marker, and we're going to lay it flat against each other, the leg. And what we're going to do, we're going to put 4 single crochet on the top to close it up. You have to go through the 2 parts of it. See how it is, you go between. So we're going to put 4 single crochet into it. So now we put our 4 single crochet on the top. I'm going to do 1 chain so we can hold in place, and I'm going to pull. Nice tail, because the tail is we're going to sew it onto the body. Remember, nice long tail, because you always could trim it off rather than not have enough. So that's it. That's our little legs. Completion of 2 of them. We're going to start our arm, and for the arm we're going to have to make 2 of them, but I'm only going to show you how to make 1. So we start off with the black yarn, and we're going to do an adjustable ring. And once again, with the adjustable ring, we're going to put 6 single crochet into the adjustable ring. Make sure you put your stitch marker in. So when you have your 6, I'll meet up with you so we could tighten the tail of our adjustable ring, and then we could start round 2. So keep on working with that 6 single crochet in your adjustable ring. So now we have our 6 stitches into our adjustable ring or single crochet. So we're going to tighten up our tail, close up the adjustable ring. So now for round 2, take out our stitch marker. And what we're going to do for round 2 is put 2 single crochet into each stitch around. So that's 1. Remember to put your stitch marker back in. And the next one, back down into that same stitch. So remember the pattern now for round 2 is 2 single crochet into each stitch around. So at the completion of round 2, you're going to have your 12 stitches. I'll meet you there. Keep on working. So for the completion of round 2, we have our 12 stitches. Take out your stitch marker. Now round 3, put 1 single crochet into our first stitch. Put your stitch marker back in. And for round 3, we're going to put 1 single crochet into the first stitch, and the next stitch we're going to put 2 single crochet. So that's 1. Go back down into that same stitch and 2. So the pattern for round 3 is 1 single crochet, next stitch 2 single crochet, and at completion of round 3 you're going to have your 18 stitches. I'll meet you there. For round 3 we finish with our 18 stitches. So take out our stitch marker. For round 4 we're going to put 1 single crochet into that first stitch. Put your stitch marker back in. And the pattern for round 4, 5, and 6, you're going to do 1 single crochet into each stitch around. So in the completion of round 6, you have 18 stitches. So I'll meet you there. Keep on working. It's 1 single crochet around in each stitch. So we completed round 6 with our 18 stitches. So now round 7, take our stitch marker. And for that stitch we took our stitch marker, we're just going to put 1 single crochet. Put back your stitch marker. And the pattern for round 7 is we're going to put 1 single crochet into the first 4 stitches. So that's 2, 3, and 4. And the next 2 stitches we're going to tug the single crochet together. So remember, it's just go down into your stitch, yarn over, go into your next stitch, yarn over, and pull up, and then pull across our 3 stitches, that across the 3 loops of yarn we have on our hook. And now we're going to do this for round 7 till we get to the last stitch just before we completed our round for round 7, because we're going to change the color. So I'm going to show you how to do that again. So work till you get there and I'll meet you there. So now we made it to our last stitch we're going to work in round 7. So we're going to put our change your color for yarn now. So we're just going to put a loop of it on our hook. Remember, I like to put it inside of our leg, and I have dropped the black yarn that we were working on, and now I'm holding onto the orange and I'm going to pull it across our 3 loops that we have. There you go. We completed round 7 with our 15 stitches. So round 8, take out our stitch marker, and in that first stitch we're going to put 1 single crochet, and this just helps us to hold our new yarn that's in place. So let's do the pattern and then I'll show you what to do next for round 8. So what we're going to do, we're going to put 1 single crochet into the first 3 stitches. So that's 1, 2, excuse me, and this is 3. And then for the following 2 stitches, we're going to tug together. This is, I do this so it helps me hold the new yarn that we put in place. And we tug, we have the 3 and go across all 3. Okay, pull it a little bit for me, don't lose it. So that's the pattern for round 8. You're going to do 1 single crochet in the first 3 stitches, and the next 2 you're going to tug together. And at the completion of round 8, you're going to have your 12 stitches. But again, to cut off the old yarn and join our new yarn. Cut. And remember, just give it a little knot to hold it together so it stays in place, and make sure it stays that way. And also now stick the little extra tails in. We're going to stuff it. So here. And just keep on working with round 8 around, and then I meet you there, the completion of round 8. So the completion of round 8, you have your 12 stitches. Take out your stitch marker for round 9. We're going to put 1 single crochet into each stitch around, but put your stitch marker back in so you don't lose your spot. So you're going to have your 12 stitches at the end of round 9. Remember, just 1 stitch around, and also too, this is how it looks when you completed round 8. So remember, 1 stitch around, I'll meet you there. For the completion of round 9, we have our 12 stitches. Take out our stitch marker. Now we're going to do round 10. Then you're going to put 1 single crochet into that first stitch. Put your stitch marker back in. And the pattern from round 10 is the first 2 stitches. We're going to put 1 single crochet. And the following, we're going to tug together the 2. Next one, you go down and then yarn over, pull up, and then yarn over, pull through. So that's it. So the pattern is, you're going to put, for the first 2 stitches, you put 1 single crochet, and the next 2 you're going to tug together, and at the completion of round 10 you're going to have 9 stitches. So keep on working with that, and I'll meet you there. We completed round 10 with our 9 stitches, so take out our stitch marker. Now round 11, we're going to put 1 single crochet into our first stitch. Put your stitch marker back in. And the pattern now for round 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16, we're going to do 1 single crochet around into our 9 stitches. And when you meet, we're going to meet back at around 16, the last stitch. I'll show you what to do. So keep on working with that pattern, 1 single crochet around 11 through 16. Okay, so we made it up to round 16 with our 9 stitches, and this is how it looks. So now what we're going to do is take out our stitch marker. I'm going to lay it flat, and like we did for the leg, we're going to close up the top by going through the top part of it, and we're going to put 3 single crochet into it. And remember, this is how it looks because you go from the front to the back. So we're going to put 3 single crochet into the top. Now we're going to chain 1 and pull up, so we could cut our, keep a long nice tail, so we could sew it on to our body. And that's our little arm and how it looks. So now we're going to make our ear, and we're going to make 2 of them. I'm going to show you how to make only 1. And we're going to start off with the black yarn. So we're going to do an adjustable ring. And with the adjustable ring, we're going to put 6 single crochet into it. And that's 1. And put your stitch marker in so you don't lose your spot. Remember, make 6 single crochet into your adjustable ring, and I'll meet you there. Okay, so we did our 6 stitches for round 1. Pull your tail tight. Now for round 2, take out your stitch marker, and for that first stitch we're going to put 1 single crochet, and put your stitch marker back in so we don't lose our spot. And the pattern for round 2 is you're going to put 1 single crochet into those 6 stitches we did from round 1. So that's it for the pattern for round 2. So when you complete that, I'll meet you there. We completed round 2 with our 6 stitches, so this is how it looked. I know it was a little kind of awkward to work with because it's a darker color yarn and getting 6 stitches back to back together. So now for round 3, we take out our stitch marker and we're going to put, the pattern is we're going to put 2 single crochet into each stitch around. So make sure that we put our stitch marker back into our first stitch. So the completion of round 3, you're going to have 12 stitches, but I'll show you how to change the color before we finish round 3. So I'll meet you there at the last stitch so I can show you how to change the color. Okay, so now we're at our last stitch to work for round 3. So I drop my yarn I'm working with and pick up my new yarn, and I just put it over my hook and I hold on to it, put the little tail like inside, and then I'm going to pull a loop across. We're going to pull it that it goes across the 2 so we could finish off that. So that will be the completion of round 3 with our 12 stitches. Now for round 4, take out our stitch marker, and we're going to, I like to do another set of stitches so at least I get to hold on to my new yarn that I'm working with. And put 1 single crochet into that first stitch, put your stitch marker back in. So the pattern for round 4 is we're going to just do 1 single crochet into each of our stitch, so you're going to have 12 stitches. But remember, I like to complete the row so I know I have enough of my yarn before I cut it off and tie it. So keep on working with that, and then I'll show you what we do when we cut it off and how we tie it. So 12 stitches around. For the completion of round 4, we have our 12 stitches. I give it a little bit of room so that we could cut our old yarn. And we're going to just make knots in it so that we know we're secure. I'll do it a couple more times, but let me show you round. Now we're starting round 5, and the pattern for round 5 is take out your stitch marker, and for that first stitch we're going to put 1 single crochet. Put your stitch marker back in. Pattern for round 5 is for the first 3 stitches we're going to put 1 single crochet. So that was 1. So that's 2. The next one, 3. And then for the next stitch we're going to put 2 single crochet. So on the completion of round 5, you're going to have 15 stitches. Back down into that same stitch, then you pull up and then yarn over. So remember, the first 3 stitches you put 1 single crochet, and the following you put 2. So I'll meet you there at the completion of round 5 with your 15 stitches. For the completion of round 5, we have our 15 stitches. So round 6, take out our stitch marker. Now we're going to put 1 single crochet into that first stitch. Put your stitch marker back in. So now the pattern for round 6, 7, and 8, we're going to do 1 single crochet in each stitch around. So at the completion of round 8, you're going to have your 15 stitches, but I'll meet you at the last stitch in round 15 to show what to do next. Keep on working. Okay, so we're at the last stitch of round 8. So we're going to do a slip knot stitch. Slip knot is go down into your hole and pull up a loop, and we're going to pull across our other loop we had on our hook, and we're going to do 1 chain so we could hold it in place, and then pull our long tail, and we cut it off, and then we're finished with it, and we have our little ears. That's how it looks. So we're going to start making our tail, and we're going to use our white yarn to start with. We're going to do an adjustable ring, pick up a loop, and chain 1 to hold our adjustable ring in place. And for our adjustable ring, we're going to put 6 single crochet into it. So that's our first one. Remember, put your stitch marker in. So go ahead and put 6 single crochet into our adjustable ring, and I'll meet you there. So we put our 6 single crochet into adjustable ring. We pull our tail tight, close up our adjustable ring. Round 2 now. Take out our stitch marker, and we're going to put 1 single crochet into the first stitch. Remember to put your stitch marker back in. Now for the next stitch, we're going to put 2 single crochet. So that's 1, back down into that same stitch, another 1, that's 2. So the pattern for round 2 is 1 single crochet, and the next stitch 2 single crochet. So the completion of round 2, you're going to have 9 stitches. Keep on working, I'll meet you there. For the completion of round 2, we have our 9 stitches. Take out our stitch marker. For round 3, you put 1 single crochet into that first stitch. Put your stitch marker back in. And the pattern for round 3 is the first 2. We're just going to put 1 single crochet. And the next stitch, we're going to put 2 single crochet. So back down into that same stitch, another single crochet. There you go. So the pattern for round 3 is the first 2 you put 1 single crochet, and the next stitch you put 2 single crochet, and at the finish of round 3 you have your 12 stitches. So keep on working, I'll meet you there. Completion of round 3, we have our 12 stitches. Take out our stitch marker. Round 4, I'm going to put 1 single crochet into that first stitch. Put your stitch marker back in. And for round 4, what we're going to do is just do 1 single crochet into each stitch around. So you're going to have your 12 stitches at the completion of round 4. So keep on working with that. I'll meet you there. For the completion of round 4, we have our 12 stitches. Take out our stitch marker. We're going to start round 5. And for that first stitch, we're going to put 1 single crochet. Put your stitch marker back in. And for the first 3 stitches, we're going to put 1 single crochet, and the next stitch we're going to put 2 single crochet. So that's 1, back down into that stitch, and that's 2. And that's the pattern for round 5. You're going to do in the first 3 stitches, you're going to put 1 single crochet, and the next you're going to put 2 single crochet. But we're going to change our color of our yarn before we finish round 5, so I'll meet you there and then show you how to do it. So we're at the last stitch of our round 5. So now I drop the white that I'm working on, and then I pick up my new yarn. I just loop it over my hook. So I put a tail inside of my little tail from my fox, and then I pull across all 2 loops. So that's the change of our color. But again, to hold it in place, I like to continue with the next row. So the next row is row 6. So we're going to put 1 single crochet into our first stitch that we took out our stitch marker from. Yarn over, pull up. Put your stitch marker back in. So the pattern for round 6 is for the first 4 stitches, we're going to put 1 single crochet. So that was 1. So now we have 2, 3, and 4. And the next stitch, we're going to put 2 single crochet. So that's 1, back down into that same stitch, and there you go, 2. So remember the pattern for round 6 is the first 4 stitches, we're going to put 1 single crochet, and the next you're going to put 2 single crochet. So keep on working with that pattern for round 6, and at the completion of round 6, you have your 18 stitches, and I'll meet you there. And that's when I cut off my tail and everything. So to make sure again that I have enough stitches around, I don't make a mistake. So keep on working with that pattern. For the completion of round 6, we have our 18 stitches. So now round 7, before we go there, like I said, I usually cut my yarn. So I cut the old yarn that I was working on, and I tie it to my new yarn, make sure it's secure. Once again, I'll do it a couple more times and then I stuck it in. But for round now 7, what we're going to do is we're going to do 1 single crochet into each stitch around. So that's the pattern for round 7. So with the completion of round 7, you're going to have your 18 stitches. So don't forget to put your stitch marker back in that first stitch we took it out from, and keep on working with that pattern. 1 single crochet around, and I'll meet you there. So for the completion of round 7, we have our 18 stitches. Now round 8, take out our stitch marker. Now what we're going to do is for that first stitch we took out our stitch marker from, we're just going to put 1 single crochet, put your stitch marker back in. And the pattern for round 8 is the first 4 stitches we're going to put 1 single crochet. So that's 2, 3, and 4. And then the next 2 we're going to tug together. So that yarn over, pull up, next stitch, yarn over, pull up, and pull through all 3 of them at the same time. So the pattern for round 8 is the first 4 stitches you're going to put 1 single crochet, and the next 2 you're going to tug together. So at the completion of round 8, you're going to have 15 stitches. So keep on working that pattern. I'll meet you there. For the completion of round 8, we have our 15 stitches. Now round 9, take out our stitch marker, and for that first stitch we're going to put 1 single crochet, put your stitch marker back in. And the pattern for round 9 is the first 3 stitches we're going to put 1 single crochet. So that's 1, 2, and 3. And the next we're going to tug together the 2. So yarn over, pull up, next stitch, yarn over, pull up, and then pull through all 3 of them at the same time. So the pattern for round 9 is the first 3 you're going to put 1 single crochet, and the next 2 you're going to tug together. So at the completion of round 9, you have your 12 stitches. So keep on working with that pattern around. I'll meet you back at the stitch marker. So for the completion of round 9, we have our 12 stitches. Now take out your stitch marker. So now for round 10, we're going to put 1 single crochet into that first stitch, put your stitch marker back in, close it up, and the pattern for round 10 is just 1 single crochet around. So at the completion of round 10, you're going to have your 12 stitches. So keep on working with that pattern, and I'll show you what to do next. For the completion of round 10, you have your 12 stitches. So now I do this because we're going to stuff it so I don't lose my spot for the tail. So we're just going to put it in and just stuff it. Okay, so we stuffed it. So now round 11, what we're going to do is take out our stitch marker. That first stitch we took our stitch marker from, we're going to put 1 single crochet, put your stitch marker back in, and for the next stitch we're just going to put 1 single crochet, and the following 2 we're going to tug together. So yarn over, pull up, yarn over, pull up, and then pull through all 3 of them. So the pattern for round 11 is the first 2 stitches you're going to put 1 single crochet, and the next 2 you're going to tug together. So at the completion of round 11, you're going to have 9 stitches. So keep on working with that pattern around. I'll meet you at the stitch marker. Now we completed round 11 with our 9 stitches. Take out our stitch marker. Round 12, we're going to put 1 single crochet into that first stitch. Close up your stitch marker, and for round 12 and 13, we're going to put 1 single crochet into each stitch around. So I'll meet you at the completion of round 13, and I'll show you what to do with the last stitch. Keep on working around. We made it to our last stitch on round 13, so we're going to slip knot stitch into it again. It's just go down into your stitch, yarn over, and we're going to pull straight across that loop that we had on our hook, and there you go. And then of course we make one chain to hold it in place, and I pull a nice tail, because this tail is actually of our fox is going to be sewn to our body. So I like a nice tail. Like I said again, nice tail helps with making sure you have enough, and then you don't have to worry about it. So that's the finished product of our fox's tail. So now we're going to start making our nose, our muzzle. We're going to use the white color yarn, and we're going to do an adjustable ring. So yarn over and pick up a loop. Now you have your adjustable ring, and chain one to hold it in place. And we're going to put 6 single crochet into our adjustable ring. So that's our first one. And remember to put our stitch marker in so we don't lose our spot. So keep on working with that till you get your 6 single crochet into your adjustable ring. I'll meet you there. So now we have our 6 stitches of our single crochet into our adjustable ring. Now pull our tail tight and close it up. So for round 2, take out our stitch marker, and we're going to put 1 single crochet to start off with in that first stitch. Yarn over, pull up, and then yarn over, pull through. Put your stitch marker back in. So the pattern for round 2 is in each stitch around from round 1, the 6 stitches we made, we're going to put 2 single crochets. So we'll go back down into that same stitch, and there you go. So the pattern is for each stitch around, you're going to put 2 single crochets. So keep on working with that pattern, and when you get there at your stitch marker, I'll meet you there. Keep on working. For the completion of round 2, we have our 12 stitches. Now take out our stitch marker. For round 3, we're going to put 1 single crochet into that first stitch, yarn over, pull up, and then put your stitch marker back in. So the pattern for round 3 is just 1 single crochet into each stitch around. So when you finish round 3, I'll show you what to do next, but keep on working with that pattern, 1 single crochet. We completed round 3 with our 12 stitches. So now what we're going to do is just pull this so we don't lose our spot, because we're going to put our safety nose on now. So remember the safety nose, we're using the 14, the size is 14 mm. I put it straight in the middle of our adjustable ring where we started, in the center of her nose. And attach the back so it pops in. You get the little grooves here, it popping when you snap it in, because it has the little grooves again in the same way for the eyes we did. So now for round 14, what we're going to do is just do 1 single crochet into each stitch around, and we're going to have our 12 stitches. So you're going to put 1 single crochet to that first stitch we started with, and put your stitch marker back in. So remember, for round 4 is just 1 single crochet all the way around. I'll meet you there. So we're at our last stitch for round 4, so we're going to slip knot stitch into that stitch. So yarn over, pull up, and pull across the last loop we have on our hook, and then of course 1 chain to hold it in place, and to pull a nice long tail, because we're going to sew it onto our head. And you cut it, and this is how our nose look. So we're We're all finished with all our parts, so now let's sew them on together. That's it for part 2. Stay tuned for part 3. Thank you for watching. See you soon. Bye-bye.